Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. And welcome back to the ASI weekly Q&A with Shaykh Akram Nadwi on every Thursday at 6 p.m. BST. Without further ado, we'll begin. Sheikh, we have a few private questions that we'd like to ask. So the first question goes, respected Sheikh, may Allah bless you always. What is the meaning of the verse from the Quran where it says in Surah Al-Nisa, verse 86, or respond with something better? فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. Some of our teachers have stated that it's not good to be saying wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh in giving salams. What do you think?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Meaning is, whenever somebody greets you, so, Muslims always should be better than the others. So, greet them with words better than that. Or at least say same thing, or similar thing, but not less than that. So, if somebody says, Assalamu alaikum, you say wa alaikum assalam, or maybe you add something, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, something like that, you can add it. But generally, salam and Muslim is assalamu alaikum, and the other person said wa alaikum assalam. So that's enough. But sometimes maybe you add something, you make more du'as. It depends how busy you are and how much time you have got. I've written an article about salam greeting in Arabic language. I don't know if it translates in English or not. So that will explain to you how it used to be. Is it clear to everybody? Can you hear?
Yes, Sheikh.
Okay. So, a meaning is that whenever somebody greets you, say same words or say something better than that. So, I've written already an article about Salam Tahiyya. So, explaining this verse, and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Salam. So, if you read that article, it will help you, inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question we have is, who does the A'raf refer to in Surah Al-A'raf? Why does Farahi and others hold a distinct position in this respect? I.e., what is the basis for the strongest view regarding its intended meaning?
Yeah, some people think Araf means a place between paradise and hellfire. And these people, they, still have not entered to paradise. They're waiting to enter, and, so they're talking to those both groups of the people. But when you look actually in the Quran, you can see the people who are on Araf, they are they look like leaders and great people. They talk to everybody, and the way they speak is not the language of the people who have not, who are like something between paradise or hellfire. And then the Quran says, "A'raf." Ala comes something like on the top, not something like fil a'raf, al-a'raf. And a'raf itself in Arabic language is something like those hairs which are on the neck of the horse. It is something at the top. It is not something lower. So I think what Mona Farahi said, that's more right in the tafsir of the verse, that these are the distinctive people and chosen people, like leaders of the believers who will be talking to both sides, to people of paradise and also the people of hellfire.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is, why does the verse say, if you've stood for prayers, then wash your face? إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ in the ayah of Wudhu.
So that what should be any meaning basically is that wudu is compulsory for the people who want to pray. The Quran is saying that when you want to pray, before going to prayer, make sure that you have done wudu. If people already have wudu, then does not matter. Meaning basically before prayer they should do wudu. So that is the meaning. There can't be something else. When you stand for the prayer, meaning when you go for the prayer, then do wudu before going. I didn't understand the question why there is a problem in this verse.
I'm not sure, Sheikh. This is what was given to me.
No. Okay.
The next question that I have, another private question, is I understand that you said saying A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim and similarly the Basmala prior to reciting the Qur'an is not prescribed inside or outside the prayer. How then does one understand the verse in relation to verse 98 of Surah Al-Nahl? Both this verse and the verse about doing wudu prior to salah use the past tense verb fi'l al-madi.
Yeah, if I, so when you read the Quran, seek refuge to Allah from shaitan. So it does not mean to say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitan Rajim. Because if it is the meaning, then the Prophet ﷺ would have said A'udhu Billah before reading the Quran or Bismillah before reading the Quran. Sometimes the Bismillah is like he mentioned, but nobody mentions A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitan Rajim. And nobody, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, Ahmad Hanbal, nobody says saying A'udhu Billah before reading the Quran is obligatory or before reading the Quran the prayer is obligatory. Nobody said like that. And it actually the Quran does not say to read. Quran says when you read the Quran, come under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. More likely it could be after finishing the Quran because the similar things also have come in the Quran when something has been finished. So that why Mawla Farahid think that it could be referring to last two surahs of the Quran, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. They are at the end of the Quran. And it makes sense because when people leave the Quran, so then after that, when they are reading the Quran, they're already under the protection of Allah anyway. When you leave the Quran, then you need to remember Allah, and ask Him to protect you. Because when you read the Quran is protection. To what else? That's what you come to Allah anyway. The Quran says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ. Hold fast the rope of Allah. The Quran is the rope of Allah. When people read the Quran, they are in the protection. They are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, they are, what Allah wants them to do. It is when the people have, left the Quran and they're going outside somewhere else, then they need to remind themselves to how to be under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, this that, when you read the Quran, you say, A'udhu Billah. This has never come from any Imam. It has more come from the people who are in Qira'at and Tajweed, and they are the people, but they're not Fuqaha. Fuqaha don't say this thing. And the Prophet ﷺ's prayer, there's no proof for A'udhu Billah, though there is some, people say Bismillah, but that also has been disputed. Some people say Bismillah should be said loudly in the, quiet prayer. Some people say quietly, like Hanafi people say. Maliki people say, no, there's no Bismillah able. Malik's opinion is that even in the prayer, you don't say A'udhu Billah, don't say Bismillah. Just start Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So had that verse in Surah Al-Nahl meant to say A'udhu Billah, then everybody would have understood. But nobody said like that.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. That was the final private question that we had. We'll move on to the questions being asked in the chat box. So the first question we have, Sheikh, is by Mahbooba, who asks, if a dog touches our clothes while passing by, should we wash it or change it before we pray salah? Jazakallah khairan.
If the dog is dry, then it is not impure. But if it touches with the tongue, which is wet, then you need to wash the part that he has touched. The rest of the clothes is fine anyway. But if it dries, it just passes by, it touches you with its body, and there's nothing wet, and then it doesn't become dirty. You can pray. There's no reason for you to wash anything.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The next question asks, in Surah Al-Israa, the beginning of it talks about twice that Bani Israel will be defeated. What are your thoughts on the second time they get defeated? Some think it has passed, but others think it refers to the future. What do you think?
The thing really is, people have been making tafsirs of these verses so many different ways. And I have told her the tafsir of Surah Al-Israa in Al-Salam in much detail where I discuss this thing. I think the best thing will be that you listen to the recording, that you will get actually, my thoughts in more detail. I don't think I can explain now so clearly, but I've got some objections about the people who keep thinking. Many modern people, they think it is more referring to the conflict of a recent conflict or something like that. So people always want to apply the Quranic verse to something they desire. But best thing is, read the Quran, read the context, things will be more clear. And what is going to happen in the future, Allah knows the best. There are some hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that is very clear. But from the Quran to find out something very clear is difficult, and you have to see the verse because for the second time the Quran also said, ليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا. The second time when this will happen, the people who will destroy Jews second time, they will enter into the mosque as they entered first time. So what is the first time? And there's so many discussion about this matter and how the companions understood the first entry into the mosque. So I think the best thing is if you listen to the tafsir, because I don't actually remember all the details in my mind. So I think the best thing will be just to listen to the recording, inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Fariha, who asks, in the concept of wudu, 4 points are fard, which is washing the full face, both hands or arms, a quarter masah of the head, and lastly, washing the feet. How should we do the quarter masah of the head, and should it be with one hand?
Yeah, in Hanafi madhab, this is the first, not in every madhab. In Hanafi madhab, one quarter of the head wiping the fur. But the sunnah way, you should do sunnah way, take the water, wipe over your head, then bring back. But if you just do like that with one hand, quarter, that's fine. Or both hands, little bit, that's fine. But the best thing is to do the whole hand. Because we never have actually any hadith where the Prophet ﷺ didn't do the full head. People said the hadith of Mughira ibn Shu'bah that the Prophet ﷺ masah ala nasiyatihi, that the Prophet ﷺ did masah on the forehead. But that hadith actually, many people think because he had a turban or something like that, so what was uncovered he did wipe, and rest he did over the turban. So still he did the full head. But anyway, sometimes people just do one quarter of the head, either with one hand or two hands. According to Hanafi madhab, that's fine. According to Imam Shafi, even few hairs are fine. Imam Malik, opinion is it should be the whole head. That's what he thinks. And for the women, if they're at home, they can do the whole head. If they're public, we'll say that just do with your hand a little bit from hair and rest over the head scarf, inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is, Salam, Sheikh, please give us some comfort and reminder of what we can do for our brothers and sisters who are suffering.
Yeah, no doubt, in the world, there always is, injustice and problem, and people, do, sometimes people hurt you with your tongue, sometimes people hurt you, with their actions, and sometimes they, twist the facts, sometimes they lie, all those things. Everything hurts, and you get reward for that. For every time you being hurt is so much reward. And understand this thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has more power than anybody else. So he can do anything, but still he's waiting for, he himself has planned what should do, what not. So believers should not interfere with Allah. Believers should do what is the best, and they should make prayer, but they should have trust in Allah, their Lord, because he has so much power. Allah's power is, nobody can compare their power with Allah's power. There's so much power. Within one word, he can destroy the whole universe. And he's going to do one day anyway. So still, if he lets something happen, because he, what is the right time for something, he knows. We don't know. So we have to listen to him. We have to obey him. We have to do the best we can do to make prayers, make du'as, whatever help you can do, for oppressed people, you can do, but don't be annoyed with Allah, and don't, start having bad thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we are limited, our mind is limited. He knows everything. He's the one who does everything. Everything planned by him, done by him. And whatever he does, whatever time he does, that's the best. we cannot know okay, what the right time. He knew the right time. He knows what to do. He can do whatever he likes. We can't even do that what we like. He just say one word and things are done. So he knows, and he loves his people. Nobody loves as much Allah loves. He loves children. He loves women. He loves the oppressed people. He loves the weak people. He loves everybody. Defend them. But sometimes what we see, we become upset because we don't comprehend everything. Allah knows all the things. What happening now in the world? It's more than a dot in the history of this earth. So he has been running the world before us and after us. He will be running. We don't run the world. There was no America or West or Europe or India or China. There were other powers. He got them. Then they went. The new powers keep coming all the time. He keeps changing. He said in the Quran, "تِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ." These are the days are we keep changing, altering. A nation comes, another one comes, this one comes, that. He gives chance to everybody. So, but some people become proud and arrogant, and sometimes they use arrogant language. So it hurts you, but don't worry, because one day they will face the consequences. Everybody will face the consequences, whether the believers or unbelievers, Muslims, non-Muslims, Jews, Christians, Hindus. Everybody is going to stand in front of the Lord, and there will full justice done. In this world, people can say something which can hurt you. It hurts me, it hurts everybody, but we get reward for that. We should be patient and wait for the judgment of our Lord. But at the same time, make dua, good dua for everybody, and whatever you can, help for the weak people, for oppressed people, you should do. The money sometimes, any help people need really, and you can do easily. You should do.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Junaid, who asks, can we pray Fard Salah sitting even if we can stand like praying in the car sitting, presumably while the car is driving?
Yeah, then you can't say that you can stand because if you don't have ability, because when you're in the car, how can you stand? So whenever you are doing the further prayer, see what the condition that time. If the ability is not only physical ability of your illness or something like that. Ability also is external ability. If externally you are not, like sometimes people are traveling on the boat or ships or aeroplane that is moving, they cannot stand. So then they are sitting. So similarly, sometimes you are in the car, you can't stop on the motorway, you can't come out to play. So sometimes you'll be obliged or forced to play inside the car. You can pray while sitting, but don't delay your further prayer. Whatever condition is, people should pray nicely, and then when you come home and other prayers, they do properly. But you don't need to do qadar, don't need to do missed prayer. Whatever you've done, that is the fard done. So Allah only makes obligatory on the people what they can do. If they can't do something, it's not obligatory upon them.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Chauvin, who asks, Salam, Sheikh, what is the ruling of women being leaders, for example, head of political power?
Yeah, anybody can be leader and lead the people. Men can be leaders, women can be leaders. There are leader, women leader mentioned in the Quran as well. But whoever leads, they have to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have to follow His commands, whether men or women. So it is not that the men lead the nation, even if they don't obey, if they're not, qualified to rule. So if the men are more qualified or women are more qualified, whoever is more qualified, they should rule. And whoever rules, they should understand the command of Allah, and they should rule with justice. That's the more important thing. So there have been actually good rulers in India, some states, very, very good women rulers. Still people remember that time, and they just and fair, and people become very prosperous. Especially in Bhopal, instead of Bhopal, there have been few ladies, two or maybe more than two, and their rule was amazing. These ladies, and there are so many books on their biographies, and good administration, piety, and their speech was very powerful. So they look after the people very well, and they actually looked after many Islamic projects. like Shibir Nomani wrote Sirat Nabi, biography of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and it was actually sponsored by these ladies. Uh, so, anybody can, people, what we need really is a good quality, that people understand the Quran, understand commands of Allah, and rule with justice. So, if somebody rules with justice, that's what we need. It could be man, could be woman.
Ahsanallah ilayka, Sheikh. The next question is by Abu Ahmed Hussein, who says, Assalamu alaikum. I'm working in a hospital. Part of my job is serving food. Sometimes I have to serve pork. Is it halal for me?
Yeah, if you serve someone because it is part of your job, then no you don't eat. So even if you have to touch it, you can touch then wash your hand because it is part of your job. So anybody can have any job like that where they have to involve in something which is not allowed. It's wrong. But your money is fine because you do your work with honesty and you are paid. So what you are paid, that's right. But this thing, you are doing for other people. That's part of your job. So absolutely, there's no harm in that. If you're doing this, there's no harm, absolutely. And Allah will reward you, inshallah, because you're looking after your family, making effort to earn halal money.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The next question is I'm interested in studying hadith, but some people I respect are telling me I should memorize the Quran first. Is that requirement sound? I will no doubt continue reading the Quran and studying it, inshallah.
But I don't know why they are money. I don't really think people need to memorize the Quran. They need to memorize some Quran, which they can read in their prayers. But I feel more important thing to understand the Quran. So, learn Arabic language, then you learn Hadith, and the first thing is learning Arabic language, and then you develop your skill until you become good in command of Arabic language to use to understand the Hadith, books of the fiqh, the Quran itself. As-Salam has started a course on how to understand the Quran, understanding of the Quran. That's a very good course for those who don't want to become a alim. But if you want to become a alim, that's better. Then you first spend time to learn Arabic language. Then after the other sciences, just memorizing the Quran is not actually enough for the people. Actually, very often people memorize the Quran and they don't have time to understand anything. Then they forget it and they don't. And Quran is to be understood and to be followed, not just to be memorized. Because there's no command of memorization of the Quran. The command is to understand the Quran and to follow it.
Barakallahu feek, Sheikh. The next question is by Awais, who asks, Assalamu alaikum. What books does Sheikh suggest for every talib al-ilm to learn with a scholar?
Depends on what you want to do. If you just want one book, there should be Quran. Everybody must understand the Quran. That is absolutely obligatory on every believer. So that should be done. If you have learned enough Quran, then the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that's important. You have to choose a book. If you just want one book, maybe Muwatta will be fine. It's more, but if you have more time, then you should study Tirmidhi, Abu Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, these four books at least. But I don't know really how much time you have got, how can I advise you. But certainly the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam should be the most important thing to learn for any student.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Ihsan, who asks, Assalamu alaikum. Should one try to rather quickly do tayammum in order to not miss salah, or should one risk missing the prayer but do proper wudu instead, irrelevant whether it's in jama'ah or by himself?
Yeah, you can't do the prayer with tayammum just because you're going to miss the prayer or miss Jama'ah. Because you only are allowed to do tayammum if you're not able to use the water. Either you are ill or there is not enough water, you're traveling. But if you can use the water and but you're too late and you're going to miss the Jama'ah, miss the time, you are not allowed to do tayammum. That might be your problem, your fault. Maybe you have excuse, so Allah will forgive you, but you can't do tayammum because you are missing, for the prayer or missing Jama'ah. You only can do tayammum if using the water is not good for you. You are not feeling well, or you can't use because you are traveling and you don't have enough water. Maybe you are at home and there's not enough water. to do wudu, then you can do tayammum. But just because somebody is scared that they're going to miss the prayer or miss the jama'ah, they are not allowed to do tayammum, except for janaza prayer. If you are going to go to janaza and you think if you do wudu, you miss the janaza, then you are allowed to do tayammum. Because janaza prayer, you can't do qadar, and you are not wali to somebody else is wali, so you have to follow them. If you are wali, you are the one who command well to establish, then you can't do tayammum. But if somebody else had is wali, then and you think you're going to miss it, you can do tayammum. But other fard prayer, you can't do tayammum just because you're going to miss the prayer.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. My question is it allowed in Islam for a hijabi bride to wear makeup and jewelry in front of non-mahram men and clicking pictures on its wedding day?
Yeah, it nothing to do with actually wedding day or any day. Muslim women, they are not allowed to come without jilbab in front of non-mahram. Their face can be uncovered, face or palms or feet, but there should be a jilbab. Sometimes there are people who have some makeup, very light one, maybe that will be fine, but something which is very attractive attracts people, then the people in that condition should be avoided. So in this thing, the best thing for the women is, when the bride, they do these things, when they don't have non-mahram around them, it's just only family people, mahram people, then it is better. But not, when there's some non-mahram. Actually, non-mahram, they should themselves be careful. They should not come there, because it is somebody's wedding there and she's bride. Sometimes women have their own, interest, or sometimes because this is their important opinion for their life, so they want some photos and this and that. So other people should be, give them space. Don't interfere with them. Don't be there. Let them do what is easier for them. And also, I'll advise the other people should not be so tough, on the women on their wedding day, because that occasion does not come so much. We should be soft. Explain it properly, but don't interfere with people's life, on that day, that time, because that's not good. That's like breaking the heart of the people and unnecessarily creating a problem.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. And the final question we'll take for today is from Halima, who asks, is it considered haram for women to travel without a mahram? My father lives in a different country and I don't have any brothers. Traveling alone is necessary for me to continue my studies.
Yeah, no, I have answered this this question many times. And I have written also on this question. It's in my book, Al-Fiqh Islami, volume 3 is coming. So that has done also detailed answer. But simple answer to your case is, if a traveling is safe for you, from the point to the point that you want to go, and your family does not find a problem, yeah, you can travel alone. But if it is not safe, then you have to think how maybe there's other women are traveling, you can be with them or something like that. You have to take some caution. But if it's safe, like for example, most European countries, Western countries, here it is safe for women to travel on their own. Or sometimes traveling by plane is very safe. So, like for example, if you travel from here to India, to New Delhi, and your father is going to receive you there or somebody from your family, and you use the plane, that's fine. So if your father lives in another country, you can use the plane, and when you arrive there, he is there to receive you. Somebody else you from your mahram, so there's no harm in that. Simple matter is that women should think that this world is not as safe as that it looks like. There are always bad, evil people around you. So be careful. And once you understand it's safe and your family also think it is safe, then yeah, you can travel alone, inshallah.
That's all for today, unfortunately. If your question hasn't been answered, please remember it and perhaps we can aim to answer it next week. Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh, for your time, and Jazakallahu khairan, everyone, for joining. And we'll be back next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. BST, as always. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.